And there are two states firmly in the firing line for Cyclone Alfred. A search is underway in northern New South Wales for a missing motorist after he was swept into floodwaters near Dorrigo. On the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast, residents have been told to hunker down in a room with no windows as it's too late to leave. Already, more than 80,000 homes across southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales are without power. The Category 2 system is set to make landfall tomorrow morning.
When nature does its worst, Australians are at our best. We rally, we lift each other up, we look out for our neighbours, we look out for our local community.
For more, 10 News First reporter Brendan Smith joins us in Brisbane. Brendan, what more do we know about this missing man in Dorrigo?
Well, Georgie, we know he was swept into floodwaters around 2:30 this afternoon in the town of Megan, which is about an hour 10 from Coffs Harbour. He was in his four-wheel drive. He managed to leave the four-wheel drive and swim across to a tree. Police had been communicating with him for some time, but then sadly the man was swept into those floodwaters, and that search is continuing tonight.
Brendan, you were at the Gold Coast last night. You're joining us from Brisbane tonight. Has there been any difference in what you can see in terms of the preparations?
Yeah, well, here in Brisbane, the advice really is to stay indoors. It does look quite calm at the moment, but we know what Queensland weather is like, and that can change in an instant. On the Gold Coast as well, plenty of people are heeding the warnings, but we saw that vision earlier of people still risking it in those rough conditions, people still trying to either catch a wave or to swim in the ocean or take photos, but it's simply getting far too dangerous. All of those massive swells are carving up much of Gold Coast's beaches. Some of the erosion is so close to fences and to homes, and it really is a worrying time for Gold Coast locals tonight.
Brendan, obviously North Queensland is more familiar with this extreme weather. Brisbane not as used to being hit by something as possibly devastating as this. How are the preparations going? How are they? Do you think people are feeling prepared?
Look, I think people in Brisbane are feeling prepared, but the concern tonight from Brisbane's Lord Mayor is that once Cyclone Alfred does make landfall, it could cause flooding that is worse than the 2022 floods, which I saw the area where I am now, houses and businesses absolutely inundated with flood water. So that is a real concern tonight, particularly for people in those low-lying areas with homes and businesses that back onto the Brisbane River here.
Brendan, we can see there that you do have, the sun on your face. It's this ultimate juxtaposition, right, of what is still to come. Are you feeling that kind of anxiety with the locals that you're talking to?
Look, we were in the CBD this morning. There were a few people out and about walking, but many people are just keen to get those last-minute supplies and really hunker down in their homes. There is definitely the fear that those floodwaters could see businesses and homes again flooded. We know people, particularly in this area, are used to it. The main road behind me, Kingsford Smith Drive, which really is, I guess, the main arterial road into the city, that gets cut off pretty much every time it floods. So people are more prepared, but there is certainly still major concern tonight, and people just are waiting for it to hit because we know it keeps expanding out to tomorrow and maybe even further into tomorrow when it does make landfall.
Brendan, thank you for your coverage and stay safe.
Thanks, Tim.